Hello there, I'm Danny, and this is a video to help you know how to conduct a great past life regression session. So I'm going to go over the key points that you need to put into the session. So when you come and do my training course and you're learning a great deal of information, you've got an idea in your mind already of all the things you need to learn. And then once you've learned how to conduct a great past life regression session, then you can start chopping and changing with all the little parts of it to work out your style, how you want to be as a therapist. So the first thing is to do the prep before the session. Okay, so that prep is for your client to be prepared and for you to be prepared. So I always talk to my clients before they arrive. 20 minutes, half an hour, sometimes on Zoom. And I'll get a sense of how easy or difficult they're going to find going into a past life, or maybe even to an LBL, or just experiencing hypnosis, depending on what they've done in the past. So I will then send them certain videos to watch, to prepare them, get them listening to the sound of my voice as well, and going into hypnosis. And I'll also prepare myself. So I will go over their notes. I will take bullet points down, and I'll get a sense of the direction I think this session may go in, where it looks like it would be best to go. And there's different routes you can take doing past life regression. So I'll figure that out at the beginning. And I'll also spend some time just grounding myself, calming myself, letting go of any stresses from the day. All right, so that prep before is really key. Then we're going to do a warm welcome. Now, I mentioned this before because sometimes your clients, when they come for a hypnotherapy, a past life, or an LBL, they might be nervous. They might be really excited. So it's good to give them a nice, warm, friendly welcome. I do a little bit of idle chit chat. How's your day been? How was your drive here? What's the weather like? We love talking about the weather in England. Just settle in and settle down. All right. Then we're going to do it's called the client interview. Now, it's not actually an interview. There's not going to be a panel of experts deciding whether they actually get the job or not. The client interview is literally, we're going to just have this talk with them now. And so I normally start with, so tell me, how can I help you today? Or what are you hoping for today? Something like that. And then what I'm going to do, this is difficult for some therapists and myself at times, is I'm going to shut up. All right. I'm going to spend 5 minutes, maybe 10, where I give them the floor. And I just let them tell me about what they're hoping for, why they've come for this past life regression a day or an LBL, or and then I might, during those 5-10 minutes, just say, oh, tell me more about that. On how does that make you feel? But I'm really going to actively listen. I'm going to put my notes to the side and I'm going to engage. And I'm going to connect my energy and really listen. Because how often do we really listen to someone? You try this with your family and friends when they're talking to you next, to just shut up and listen. Try saying to your family and friends, tell me more about that. How does that make you feel? It can be really quite a wonderful experience to do it with people sometimes. But what happens, someone's telling us a story and our conscious mind goes, oh, I want to reply to that. Oh, that's going to be an interesting comment. And then we are hooked on getting our reply back. We want them almost to shut up so we can say what we want to say. So for the first 5-10 minutes, I listen to them. Put my notes down and really engage. And that really helps with rapport as well. And you're going to hear a lot about rapport when it comes to hypnosis, past life regressions, LBLs, because it's key that your client feels that there's someone here who cares about them, someone here that they can trust. And then that helps them to let go, because it's their conscious mind that's going to block the session, possibly. And if they are able to let go, and they feel that they're in a supportive, loving place, then the session will go wonderful. So client interview. And I'll also go over the client's questions. They'll have 5 or so questions for their spirit guides, for their higher self. Then we're going to do the pre-talk. Now, this is the kind of what you call the hypnosis pre-talk, or the past life regression, LBL pre-talk. Okay, excuse my writing. So I'll go over hypnosis a little bit, depending on how much we need to talk about it. But I want to get onto the past life regression, LBL, depending on why they're here, pre-talk. So some of the key things that I'm going to go over in that talk are trust. Trust the way the information comes to you today. Trust what you sense, what you feel. Don't overanalyze anything. That's what happens often. Let your conscious mind, and we'll talk about the conscious mind more on another video, just let it step back today. Do all the analyzing when you leave. So in that pre-talk, I will say the information may come as visual, auditory, kinesthetic. You may see images, you may not. You may feel and sense things. Let's go with the first impression that comes to you. Be patient. Sometimes when we go to a past life, it can take a minute or so for the information, the images, the feelings to come. Sometimes it happens rapidly and quickly. So this pre-talk is really, really key, essential to having a great session. And I always send them a 20-minute video talking through this pre-talk for past lives, for LBLs. And then I go over it again, reminding them. So it goes in a deeper level. And if you get this right, it makes a massive difference. So it's really key to know how to do a good pre-talk. Then we're going to do maybe something called hypnotic games. So the hypnotic games are just to fire up the imagination. So the hypnotic games, maybe just to say, just close your eyes and imagine a fruit. Notice the color of the fruit, the weight of the fruit. Open your eyes. What color was the fruit? Close your eyes. Imagine a flower. Notice the color of the flower, the smell of the flower, the feel of the flower. Open your eyes. Tell me about your flower. And then close your eyes. Imagine you're out in nature. Imagine there's a doorway in the middle of nowhere. And behind that doorway is a friendly animal. I want you to walk up to that door and go and meet your friendly animal. Maybe stroke the friendly animal. Maybe your friendly animal wants to say something to you, or maybe wants to take you somewhere. Open your eyes. Tell me about your friendly animal. The last one I had was a panda. What a lovely friendly animal they are. And I actually used that panda in the session a couple of times just to help out, give them a bit of support. So hypnotic games fires up the imagination. And I use these for clients that I think may possibly struggle. But sometimes I just play around and do these anyway, because they can be a bit of fun. And it's good to have sometimes a bit of lightness in the session as well. You know, a bit of humor, a bit of silliness sometimes can really help relax certain clients. And I know Dolores Cannon always says, imagine a red bird flying across the sky. Imagine a yellow flower and a green tree with the wind blowing through the leaves. So the next thing is we're going to get ready to do the hypnosis. So we might go to a toilet. I probably will go to the toilet. I'll suggest it's a good idea for the client to go to the toilet. But if they do need to go during the session, it's not a problem at all. Just say, let me know, come back up, you know, and then you can walk to the toilet. You'll find you come back and you close your eyes. After going to the toilet, you will go even deeper into hypnosis. So now the induction, deepeners. Now, so when it comes to a past life or an LBL, Michael Newton used to spend a long time doing inductions, 45 minutes or so, a lot of visualization, a lot of deepening techniques, going downstairs. And that works well for some clients. I know other LBL therapists don't really do any inductions and just say, close your eyes and float up out your body. And that works for a small percentage of people. And it's about working out what's right for you as a therapist. There's no right or wrong way to do inductions or deepeners. There are over 200 Michael Newton facilitators, and I bet they've got 200 different inductions they're all using. So it's about learning many different inductions, and it's what resonates with you as a therapist, what you're good at doing, what you feel flows from you. And because then that will work really well in the client. It's also sensing what's going to be good for the client too as well. So you work out what you're good at doing, what the client wants, and then you work out what kind of induction you'd like to do. I know Delors Cannon's training, they have to verbatim use the same induction for every single client, which is shocking, really. I think that's one of the great things about the Michael Newton Institute is they want the therapists to go beyond now. They want us to become artists. They want us to explore and go beyond. And this is what you're going to learn on my course of inductions, is there are many different types of inductions. And I've learned a lot of rapid hypnosis and street hypnosis. I've learned dozens, hundreds of different deepening induction techniques. Why are we even doing inductions? You know, this is really important as well. So hypnosis basically takes the conscious mind offline. It dumbs down the conscious mind, the same as plant medicine like ayahuasca, psilocybin, magic mushrooms. What hallucinogenics do, plant medicine, is they don't stimulate the brain, they switch parts of it off. The same as hypnosis, the same as when you go to sleep each night, parts of your brain switch off. And then what happens when those parts of your brain switch off? You can fly. Your soul goes out and has these beautiful, amazing dreams. When you do plant medicine, you can go off and travel and meet your higher self. When you do hypnosis, you can go into past lives. You can go into the spiritual realm. Once we take the conscious mind offline, we're able to experience our soul memories. And that's what we're doing here. That's why it's important to learn these techniques. And they're different for everyone. So inductions, deepeners, we'll go through these on the course. And it's good to deepen throughout at times, but it's knowing when to and when not to. Often people deepen unnecessarily. There's ways of gauging where they are. But you get it. A lot of this work is about sensing and using your intuition. And we always ask for our guides. I ask for my guides, the client's guides at the beginning to accompany us. Ancestors, soul team, soul group, cosmic family, guardian angels, to just guide us so that you kind of just sense and feel what's right in each moment. But I know when you're learning, it's really good to have a script, to have an outline. And when you first learn, when you come on my course, you'll be given some scripts because you need to know the language. You need to memorize this stuff. Well, not even memorize it, but just know the words, know what you're doing. And then once you've used the script a bunch of times, you start moving it away and then it just starts flowing. But don't worry about remembering all of this, okay? Okay, to start with, it's good to use scripts. You need those stabilizers on before you start cycling. All right, just like any toddler. You wouldn't put them straight on a big bike, would you? Because they'd fall over and they'd get hurt and they wouldn't do it again. But you put the stabilizers on. And after a few months, once they figured it out, you take them off. And those first few rides, they're probably a bit wobbly, they're a bit unsure. But then once they get going, that's when they start having a great adventure. And maybe even going and winning the Tour de France and wearing the yellow jersey. So inductions and deepeners. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the actual route. So that might be to childhood, maybe womb, maybe to the past life regression, and then into spirit. Now, this is going to be different for every client too. Michael Newton used to go to 3 childhood, 12, 6, 2, womb, past life regression, spirit realm, and then go around all the different stops in the spirit realm. The training is now called Beyond. There's a hand up there still. Shall I lower that hand? I think I'll do that. There we go. Lovely. Should I do a little reaction? How do you do a reaction? A little reaction. There we go. Hey. So I'm glad someone likes it. Oh, you can like and subscribe if you want to. Don't feel you got to. You can even message me as well if you're interested in doing this training. That'd be lovely. Or if you've got any comments just about this course or about past lives or Michael Newton. So childhood, womb, past life, spirit, but it's called Beyond now. And Michael Newton said the next wave of therapists will take my work far beyond. And that's what we're doing. So you don't always do this route. Sometimes I'll go from child straight to past life. Sometimes I'll go straight to past life. Sometimes you can go straight to spirit realm. It's different every time, depending on your client, depending on what you're like as a therapist. But it's good to know all these different techniques. Like womb can be amazing for some clients, but for others, it just doesn't work at all. And then it can feel like the whole session is ruined. But when the womb works well, it can be amazing because you're now talking to them as a soul. You now start saying things like, as the soul that you are, what's it like to move that developing body? As the soul that you are, do you stay in the body the whole time? Or do you come and go throughout the pregnancy? And you're hoping they're going to say, oh, I come and go. Brilliant. Tell me, when you come and go, where do you go? The spiritual realm. So you can often go from womb to the spiritual realm. But there's many different pathways, different routes. So the next bit we're going to do, right, yeah, so the past life, we're going to call it the past life review. So we should also add, when we're doing childhood, womb, past life, spirit, this is where you need to be able to hold space. So this is something we're going to be really teaching on the course. Now, because often, and we might do this in the past life review, but often trauma is going to come up. Even though we might ask for a happy childhood, it might not be. Womb, past life, you can easily find trauma. So when we do the review or in this point, you need to know how to deal with trauma. Your client might start abreacting. All right, so I'm going to put trauma. I'm going to put abreaction, which means an abnormal reaction. Although they're not abnormal. It's exactly what we should be doing. Cathartically releasing these emotions through tears, through breathing, through the body just letting it out. Okay? So trauma, abreactions. So you need to have done personal growth work. So you can hold space. All right? Because trauma is going to come up, they might abreact. So you need to have done your personal growth work so you can hold space lovingly. Because you don't want to be getting triggered when they're getting triggered. Not ideally. I know some therapists let out a tear when their clients are having emotions, and that's okay. But you need to be grounded. You need to have done your work so you're okay. And we will go over this on the course. I used to be a paramedic. So is this recording? Yeah, it is. Thank God for that. This is the third time I've done this video. If you've actually watched it this far, well done. Yeah, I didn't write down these things on the board for the first 2 times. What's the matter, eh? Yeah, you need to have done your own personal growth work. And we'll go over that on the course. But so when I was a paramedic, I learned to be able to deal with whatever comes up. And that's really helped prepare me for doing this work. And I'll go through some of the things that I've learned and how to help you hold space and do that personal growth work. So you're not worried about trauma coming up. You don't want to be worried about an ab reaction. For me, an ab reaction is a golden moment. And trauma is different from everyone. Your trauma, my trauma is different for everyone. Just because you think that's a traumatic thing, it might not be for the client. They might even laugh at it. And they often do when we get into the spiritual realm, or the guides do anyway. They find all this stuff comical. They don't see this like we do. All right. They see it almost as just a loving game that we play where we learn. So, yeah, and I'm just going to nip to the toilet really quickly. An ab reaction is a golden moment. When your client is releasing tears, emotions, this is when they are really healing. But as a therapist, what you learn is you haven't got to be clever. You haven't got to be a genius. Get them into spirit, and the guides, their higher self, will do the healing. Once you connect them with that power, that's where the real healing and transformation can happen. So this is easy, this work. It's really, really easy. Okay, so past life review. So we're going to learn the lessons, what was their purpose. Then the therapeutic interventions. So there's lots of different therapeutic interventions we can do. Kind of normally once oh, can you read that? I mean, I can't really read that. That's terrible. Once they're out the past life, normally they're in the in-between place, the bardo, the gateway to the spiritual realm. Then that's where we might do some of these therapeutic interventions. But again, we can then bring the guides in, and that works great for some clients. For some clients, we can't get the guides in just yet. So you may have to, as the therapist, do some of those therapeutic interventions. But I'll teach you how to get the guides in and show you how to get them on board. All right, it makes it so much more easier. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, all I'm going to talk about on this video. I hope it's recorded okay for the 3rd time. Then we're gonna emerge them. So we're going to emerge them. All right, and I'll try and write this a little bit neater, but I'm having to lean all the way down here now. I could have put my back out possibly doing that. Luckily, I'm a physio as well, so oh, you can't read that, can you? So emergence, that's what it says down the bottom. When you emerge them, you need to do it in a certain way that you bring them all back into one whole being. You bring in the lessons and the wisdom. You ground them, and then when you bring them up, you do it in a way to make sure that they come up. All right, so you go to a more conversational type of talking. So there you go. How to do a great past life regression. And this is similar to what you'll be doing LBL when you go and join the Michael Newton Institute one day, if you want to. The prep before the session, a warm welcome, client interview, just get to know them. The pre-talk for hypnosis and past life regression and LBL, if that's what you're doing. Hypnotic games, inductions and deepeners. We will do a whole talk on that. And then the root, child, room, past life spirit. Again, that can vary on where you want to go. And sometimes the guides or their soul has different ideas on where they're going. Then the past life review, therapeutic interventions. Again, you need to know these, but sometimes the guides and the higher self can do them. And when you bring them up, make sure they're grounded and you've kind of reviewed the session. And then give them a few moments when you bring them up. All right. Because they can sometimes take a little while. But I hope that helps. And any comments, please like, please share. And if you're interested in doing this training, then please contact me, email me, WhatsApp me, and I'll talk you through it. And if you're on the course, then I hope you have a great time when I meet you. And yeah, if you've taken any notes, then just mention to me anything that's come to you when you watch this video. All right, looking forward to meeting any of you that may be coming on the course.